all started 100 miles east of Miami when I found myself surrounded by this strange storm.
Over 2,379 people have vanished in the Bermuda Triangle, maybe even more. Crossing it is like playing Russian roulette, and most never return. But one man, Bruce Jernan, defied the odds.
Nearly 100 ships and planes have vanished into this enigma.
The Canadian pilot simply disappeared in the fog and was never seen again.
His bizarre experience raises more questions than answers. Everyone knows about the Bermuda Triangle, but yet nobody knows what's going on over there. Let's dive into the story of the pilot who survived the Bermuda Triangle. Many people have vanished in the Bermuda Triangle, but one pilot managed to escape and live to tell the tale. Stretching between Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico, the triangle is notorious for mysterious disappearances of ships and planes. How could an experienced pilot suddenly lose all sense of direction? Join us as we dive into the gripping story of a pilot who escaped the deadly clutches of the triangle. Bruce Jernan, a pilot, author, and researcher, has fascinated many with his remarkable story. Whether seen as an encounter with a rare, natural event or a dramatic flight turned into a legend, his account keeps people intrigued. Some skeptics believe Bruce's story is due to natural weather phenomena or navigation errors, not anything supernatural. After all, the area is well known, and most flights pass through without incident. Yet Bruce's tale continues to captivate those who are drawn to the mysteries of the Bermuda Triangle, blending facts with folklore and fueling our curiosity. At just 23 years old, Bruce was already a skilled pilot, flying a brand new Bonanza A-36 with confidence. He wasn't alone. His father, an experienced pilot with years of flying, accompanied him. They had just completed a survey in Andros for a new resort and were familiar with the flight path back to Miami, having flown it many times before. The Bonanza A-36 is known for its excellent performance and reliability, and Bruce had complete trust in the aircraft's capabilities. But what happened with his beloved aircraft was totally shocking. Did it sink in the sea, or crashed with mountain, or lost in clouds? Here, we will let you know. They took off from Andros Town Airport around 3 p.m., expecting a smooth hour-and-a-half journey back to Miami under clear skies. But shortly after takeoff, Bruce noticed something strange. A large, stationary, oval-shaped cloud directly in their path, about 2 miles away. Unlike other clouds drifting with the wind, this one seemed to be holding its position, like a lens-shaped lenticular cloud. It stretched about 1.5 miles long and 1,000 feet thick, with a top reaching up to 1,500 feet. The cloud's smooth edges and solid white color made it stand out against the blue sky, prompting Bruce to adjust their course to avoid it. As they approached, the cloud appeared denser and less transparent, almost like it was made of something more substantial than vapor. Bruce's father, echoing a lifelong respect for the sky's unpredictability, agreed with his decision to steer clear. However, Bruce decided to fly through the cloud at a low altitude of 19,500 feet, even though such clouds typically appear at higher elevations between 20,000 to 40,000 feet. Bruce flew through without much concern, accustomed to the peculiarities of the Bermuda Triangle, but what they encountered inside was far from normal. The sky's true challenge soon became clear. The cloud wasn't just a harmless puff of vapor. It was a massive, unstable force capable of creating dangerous weather. As they ascended, the cloud expanded rapidly, almost as if it was chasing the plane. It seemed to mirror their every move, forcing Bruce and his father to climb higher, yet always staying just behind them. Then, the cloud engulfed their plane. The aircraft shuddered from an updraft, and their visibility dropped to less than 100 feet. For a tense half-minute, they flew through a dense gray fog until they finally emerged. But the danger wasn't over. The cloud continued to rise alongside them, staying dangerously close. Despite their efforts to climb faster, the cloud seemed to anticipate their moves, enveloping them again and forcing the plane upward with another powerful updraft. For a brief moment, they managed to climb above the cloud, but their relief was short-lived. The massive cloud loomed below, ready to rise again. It was a reminder of nature's sheer power, unforgiving but not malicious, simply following the laws of physics. As they saw the cloud's twisting form reappear, they realized their challenge wasn't over. The cloud was enormous, reaching from the ocean's surface to 40,000 feet in the air, far beyond what their small plane could manage. Flying beneath it wasn't an option, as it seemed to touch the sea. Climbing over it was impossible too, given the cloud's height. and going around it risked running out of fuel before reaching safety. They were running out of options, and even Bruce's father, usually calm under pressure, showed signs of worry. As they circled the cloud, hoping for a solution, the tension in the cockpit grew. They were stuck in a race against nature, with the storm intensifying and Bruce's father frantically scanning the plane's manual for guidance. Lightning flashed through the dark heart of the storm, casting eerie shadows. The air around them felt thick with danger, and every turn seemed to push them deeper into trouble. Turning back to the clearer skies they had left behind was just as uncertain as moving forward. With no guarantee of safety, they pressed on into the storm, relying on hope and a flimsy plan. Bruce and his father clung to the belief that the cloud's menacing appearance was not as solid as it seemed. Safety is usually the priority in flying, but that day they had no choice but to face what lay ahead. As they entered the heart of the cloud, what seemed like a soft white exterior turned into a pitch-black interior, lit only by bright flashes of electricity. The deeper they went, the more intense the flashes became. Bruce realized they were caught in an electrical storm, a frightening and dangerous situation. The storm seemed to have them in its grip, but they kept searching for a way out. Bruce described the inside of the cloud as a giant swirling tunnel, like the inside of a donut. After flying through 10 miles of dense cloud, he spotted an opening shaped like an anvil, a shape that usually signals a powerful storm is forming. Despite knowing the risks, they aimed for this exit, hoping it would lead them back to clear skies. It was a daring escape from the storm's clutches. What had started as a routine flight became a battle against nature's raw power. Though they eventually made it out, the encounter left them with a story that would become part of the Bermuda Triangle's mysterious lore, an eerie blend of fact and speculation, leaving us to wonder what truly lurks within those strange, swirling clouds. In a desperate situation, Bruce knew he had to act quickly. He turned the plane 90 degrees to the right, aiming for a gap between two towering, anvil-shaped clouds. This narrow passage, about a mile wide and stretching 10 to 15 miles long, seemed to be their only chance of escaping the storm. On the other side, they hoped to find clear skies. As they entered the cloud tunnel, Bruce experienced something entirely new despite his 50 years of flying, a sudden feeling of weightlessness, as if the plane was floating through the air. The aircraft seemed to accelerate, leaving vapor trails behind. This strange sensation faded as quickly as it came, but it left a lasting impression. Emerging from the tunnel, Bruce noticed the tunnel walls spinning slowly around them. Although they made it through, a sense of confusion lingered. Bruce turned to his father, who attempted to use the flight instruments to determine their position. Yet the instruments provided no clear answers. The compass meant to point them in the right direction was spinning erratically in reverse. Instead of clear skies, they faced a thick, grayish-white haze. Bruce radioed Miami's air traffic control, hoping that the plane's transponder technology from the 1970s that helps track planes would assist them. But the news was grim. They weren't showing up on radar. Frustrated, Bruce's father took over the radio, seeking answers. However, the controllers couldn't offer any help. It was as if they had flown into a place where normal rules didn't apply. They were lost, both in location and understanding of the strange conditions around them. Flying blind, Bruce's father vented his frustration over the radio, demanding, "What do you mean you can't find us on radar?" The controller's voice came back weak and uncertain, offering a simple, "Sorry." This only heightened the tension in the cockpit. Bruce quickly ended the call but asked the controller to notify them if their radar status changed. Bruce turned his focus to calming his father and their friend Chuck, both visibly worried. Despite his reassurances, Bruce knew the severity of their predicament. They were without proper guidance, their compass spinning uselessly. As the pilot, he felt the heavy responsibility of their survival. Recalling a basic navigation technique from his early training, Bruce tried to calculate their direction manually, aiming to determine true north. It wasn't perfect, but it was better than nothing. Using rough math, he navigated the skies and he slowed the plane to 180 miles per hour, ready to react if any new dangers appeared. Time moved slowly, marked by the plane's rumbling engine and the ticking of their watches. 32 minutes into their flight, Bruce recalculated their position, each number scribbled down as the aircraft shook with turbulence. They estimated they were about 95 miles southwest of Miami, near the Bimini Islands, hoping to reach them within 6 or 7 minutes. Suddenly, their radio crackled. Miami Air Traffic Control's voice cut through, reporting that a plane was moving west over Miami Beach. Bruce checked his watch. Only 34 minutes had passed. The entire journey should have taken 90 minutes in fair weather. "Are you sure that's us?" Bruce asked, disbelief coloring his voice. The idea that they had traveled so far in such a short time seemed impossible, but the controller was certain. "Yes, it's definitely you. You're the only plane I see on that path," he replied, sounding both impatient and urgent. Bruce and his father exchanged a worried glance, wondering if their instruments or the controller had made a mistake. Bruce cross-checked their coordinates with a physical map, but something still didn't add up. Could it be a glitch with the radar or their own equipment failing at a critical moment? Relying solely on the controller or malfunctioning technology could turn a routine flight into a disaster, something they couldn't afford. As the fog lifted, Bruce realized the controller was right. They were indeed over Miami Beach, far ahead of schedule. The sudden arrival was a relief, but also a mystery. How had they covered such a distance so quickly? Passengers whispered among themselves, wondering if it was a technical malfunction or an unusual weather event that had sped up their flight. Some even drew comparisons to the mysterious incidents often associated with the Bermuda Triangle, where time anomalies and sudden weather changes have been reported. Theories ranged from rare atmospheric conditions to glitches in aviation technology, but no clear answers emerged. Bruce and his fellow travelers chalked it up to an extraordinary but fortunate fluke. Still, doubts lingered. Was it just a natural event or something beyond ordinary aviation understanding? As stories like these spread, experts and scientists began to take them more seriously, realizing that such anomalies might not be as random as once thought. These incidents sparked speculation, with some questioning the reliability of aviation instruments. Others entertained the unsettling idea that there might be aspects of air travel that remain unexplored, hidden like the clouds that had mysteriously brought Bruce to Miami. The mystery of their journey, like many tales from the Bermuda Triangle, remained unsolved. This area, known as the Devil's Triangle, and has long been a source of dramatic stories about disappearing ships and planes, captivating those who love the thrill of the unexplained. Linking these tales to the accounts of explorers like Christopher Columbus, who recorded strange lights and compass issues in the same region centuries ago, keeps the legend alive. While skeptics dismiss such stories as exaggerations or navigation errors, the Bermuda Triangle continues to fascinate. Fact and fiction blend together, making it a subject that still captivates our curiosity and imagination. Whether it's the stories from Columbus's time or modern-day accounts, the allure of the unknown keeps the mysteries of the triangle in the spotlight. Imagine a passenger jet flying from Puerto Rico to Miami 3 years ago, carrying 29 passengers and 3 crew members. Suddenly, it vanished without a trace. Despite extensive searches, no remains were found, fueling endless debates and theories about what could have caused such a disappearance in the infamous Bermuda Triangle. One of the more popular theories is the idea that remnants of the ancient civilization of Atlantis are at play, specifically pointing to the mysterious Bimini Road, a rock formation off the coast of the Bahamas. Believers in this theory claim that ancient energy fields from Atlantis disrupt modern technology, causing navigational failures and strange phenomena. Others suggest that a parallel universe exists within the triangle, creating time-space distortions that can swallow up ships and planes. There are even theories involving alien activity, with reports of UFO sightings in the area adding to the mystery. While these ideas capture the imagination, the actual causes behind Bermuda Triangle incidents are often more grounded in reality, natural phenomena, or human error. What seems unexplainable often has a rational explanation linked to environmental conditions or outdated navigation technology. Yet, the peculiar events leave room for further mysteries. Magnetite and methane, the science behind the triangle. The Bermuda Triangle is notorious for causing navigation issues, primarily due to its unique geology. The area's magnetite-rich limestone can interfere with a plane's or ship's compass, leading to navigational errors. Even a small rock from Bermuda can cause disruptions, potentially sending a vessel off course where it might encounter unseen dangers. Aircraft aren't immune to this. Pilots relying on their instruments can find themselves drifting off their intended path due to magnetic interference. A slight error might seem minor initially, but over the vast ocean, it can result in a plane veering off course, ultimately leading to it getting lost. Another intriguing aspect is the presence of methane hydrates along the continental shelves in the area. Experiments in Australia have shown that these natural gas deposits can create large bubbles that reduce water density. If a ship encounters one of these bubbles, it could suddenly sink as the water beneath it loses buoyancy. Over time, ocean currents could scatter any remnants across the sea floor. These natural explanations, like magnetic rocks, disrupting compasses and methane bubbles destabilizing water, offer insights into the Bermuda Triangle's mysteries. Yet they also highlight the unpredictability and complexity of nature, where human error can easily be misinterpreted as something more mysterious. Lost in the Triangle, human error and the unpredictable sea. Searching for a missing ship or plane in the Bermuda Triangle is like looking for a needle in a haystack. When vessels sink, strong currents and immense pressure often break them apart, scattering debris across the ocean floor. This happened with the Titanic. Its pieces were found spread over 600 meters apart. While more than 50 planes and ships have disappeared in this region, it's important to consider how many safely pass through every day. The Bermuda Triangle is a busy route for airliners and cruise ships, providing the fastest path to many Caribbean destinations. Thousands of people live within its boundaries, and nearly every cruise to the Caribbean travels through this area. Despite this, people love to turn everyday accidents into eerie tales. Human error plays a role in many of these incidents, just as it does elsewhere in the world. But the Triangle's reputation makes these stories stand out more, feeding into its mysterious image. In reality, it's no more dangerous than any other heavily traveled ocean route. While we often hear about the rare accidents, countless planes and ships navigate the Triangle without any trouble. Debunking the myths, but the mysteries remain. The Bermuda Triangle may sound alarming, but when you consider the sheer volume of traffic it sees, it's clear that the risks are overblown. Even though aviation and maritime incidents occur here, they are not statistically different from those in other parts of the world. The Triangle's eerie reputation persists largely because stories of disappearances make for good headlines and captivating tales. Yet, despite scientific explanations, the Bermuda Triangle continues to puzzle us. The more researchers explore it, the more questions arise. For some, these incidents might just be a string of coincidences that gain attention because of our tendency to focus on the mysterious. But not everyone is satisfied with this perspective. Critics argue that the media's focus on the Bermuda Triangle has amplified its mysterious reputation. They suggest that not every strange event is as significant as it's made out to be. However, ongoing reports from pilots and sailors about their instruments malfunctioning without explanation keep the debate alive for those convinced that the Triangle holds some hidden power. The conversation between skeptics and believers continues, each side presenting evidence that either supports or refutes the claims of mystery. Every time a rational explanation emerges, a new and strange occurrence seems to challenge it, keeping the allure of the Triangle alive. This cycle of questions and discoveries keeps drawing people to this mysterious phenomenon, looking for answers that remain just out of reach. The legend begins. The Bermuda Triangle has always been a legend, a tale shrouded in mystery. One of the oldest stories linked to this region involves Christopher Columbus's first transatlantic voyage in 1492. During this journey, 3 notable incidents occurred. Columbus's crew reported seeing a fireball in the sky, their compasses malfunctioning, and a strange light hovering above the ocean. Columbus described the fireball as a marvelous branch of fire that fell from the sky into the sea. While it might be more thrilling to imagine aliens or UFOs, it's more plausible that a meteor caused this sighting. After all, shooting stars are common in September, and this incident occurred on September 15th. 2 days later, the crew noticed their compasses were misaligned with the North Star. This phenomenon, known as magnetic declination, means that a compass points toward magnetic north rather than true north. But more importantly, these events didn't occur near the Bermuda Triangle. They took place in the middle of the North Atlantic, a fact often overlooked. However, the strange light was indeed observed within the triangle. Columbus described it as a small wax candle that rose and lifted up, believing it signaled land, not a supernatural mystery. Just hours later, a crew member spotted the American continent. supporting Columbus's theory that the light came from nearby land, possibly a bonfire from the indigenous people. The disappearances. As we fast forward to the mid-20th century, one of the most famous disappearances tied to this area is Flight 19, featured in the film Close Encounters of the Third Kind. This incident is often considered the starting point for the Bermuda Triangle phenomenon. On December 5, 1945, a squadron of 5 planes left a naval air station in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, for a routine navigation exercise. Everything was going smoothly until 2 hours into the flight, when the pilot of the lead plane reported becoming disoriented because both of his compasses were malfunctioning. Throughout the flight, multiple stations tried to contact Flight 19 but struggled to pinpoint their location. The pilots were also heard arguing over directions. As time went on, communication became increasingly difficult, and 4 hours after takeoff, Navy personnel estimated the flight was about 200 kilometers off course. A flying boat designated ST-49 was sent to search for them, but after a routine transmission, it disappeared too. 5 hours after takeoff, a final transmission from Flight 19 came through, but the squadron was never seen again. While this sounds mysterious, the details reveal a different story. The 5 planes were piloted by 4 students and 1 instructor, Charles Taylor. After taking off, one of the students assumed the lead role, but Taylor felt they were off course and took command. According to the radio logs, Taylor confused the Bahamas with the Florida Keys. He was heard saying, "Both my compasses are out, and I am trying to find Fort Lauderdale." It's easy to see how Taylor, an experienced pilot, could mix up his position. He had flown from Miami and was accustomed to the Florida Keys, making this confusion a likely contributor to the tragedy. The search of ST-49. As Taylor continued flying north, believing he was heading toward land, he actually drifted further into the open sea. Meanwhile, the weather worsened, the sun set, visibility dropped, and the sea became increasingly rough. The flight logs revealed their desperation. "Have to land on water unless we landfall, and we may have to ditch any minute." Shortly after, the flying boat ST-49 was diverted to search for Flight 19. After its departure, it too vanished. ST-49 and Star Aerial. A ship reported seeing an explosion in the ocean 20 minutes after ST-49 took off. Flames shot up over 30 meters into the air, but when the ship arrived at the explosion site, there was only debris and oil, with no survivors. The Navy quickly connected this explosion to ST-49's disappearance, despite a thorough search revealing no trace of the plane or its crew. All signs indicated that Flight 19 crashed into the ocean after running out of fuel, while ST-49 likely exploded due to engine failure. However, not all disappearances can be so easily explained. On January 17, 1949, a plane called Star Aerial took off from Bermuda bound for Kingston, Jamaica. An hour into the flight, the pilot made a routine transmission without a hint of trouble. Yet the plane vanished without a trace. There was no distress call and the weather was excellent. The experienced crew had flown this route many times, and the plane was in good condition. Investigators could not determine a cause for the disappearance. Even more puzzling was the fate of the Star Tiger, which disappeared under comparable conditions the year before. On January 30, 1948, Star Tiger vanished while approaching Bermuda. An investigation concluded, no more baffling problem has ever been presented for investigation. What happened in this case will never be known. Unsolved mysteries of Carol A. Deering. Another baffling incident involves the 5-masted sailing vessel, Carol A. Deering. On January 9, 1921, the Deering left Barbados for Norfolk, Virginia. Less than 3 weeks later, it was spotted by a lightship near North Carolina, and the crew reported losing both anchors. The ship was last seen making its way to Norfolk but never arrived. 2 days later, the Coast Guard found the Deering abandoned, having run aground in Diamond Shoals. The crew's belongings, navigational equipment, and lifeboats were missing, and evidence showed that the ship's steering gear had been deliberately destroyed. The 11 crew members were never found. A few months later, a man named Christopher Columbus Gray claimed to have discovered a message in a bottle that read, "Deering captured by oil-burning ship, something like a chaser. Taking off everything, handcuffing the crew. Crew hiding all over the ship." No chance of escape. While this message was initially believed to be genuine, handwriting experts later determined it was a hoax. Yet the mystery deepens as evidence suggested a possible mutiny. The person who hailed the lightship wasn't the captain, but a red-headed man with a Scandinavian accent, which described some crew members but not the captain. Investigations revealed tension between the captain and crew, including threats and mistrust. To wrap up, let's consider the Bermuda Triangle itself. If this area truly posed unique dangers, why isn't it marked on maps? If the U.S. Coast Guard genuinely cared about safety, wouldn't they warn the public about this supposedly perilous region? Yet, countless ships and planes traverse it every day without any caution signs. While one might argue that more traffic leads to more accidents and therefore more disappearances, this perspective simplifies a complex issue. An article from earlier asked, "Will someone please explain where all these planes, ships, and possibly submarines went?" I'd wager they sank into the ocean. As for the floating debate, I'd prefer to trust the laws of physics rather than fictional tales. SS Marine Sulphur Queen. The enigma of the Bermuda Triangle is intriguing, yet defining what constitutes a disappearance linked to it is anything but straightforward. In some cases, like Flight 19, the incident occurred within the triangle's boundaries. However, many vanishings only overlap with it. For example, the SS Marine Sulphur Queen disappeared in 1963 as it left Texas for Virginia, but its last known location was far from the triangle. The Coast Guard believes it sank just before reaching the Florida Keys. Similarly, in 1954, a plane disappeared between Maryland and the Azores, considered a victim of the triangle despite being outside its borders. Ultimately, while intriguing stories and mysteries may remain unsolved, the Bermuda Triangle is simply a part of the North Atlantic. Its history features maritime accidents and disappearances, rather than a paranormal puzzle waiting to be solved. These are the facts, the stories, and the experiences surrounding the Bermuda Triangle. Yet, even with all this information, many questions remain unanswered. Science doesn't have all the answers, and the more we learn, the more we realize how much we still don't know. The Bermuda Triangle continues to captivate our imagination, reminding us that even in a world of facts and figures, some mysteries remain unsolved. As we explore the balance between myth and reality, we find ourselves drawn to the enigma of the Bermuda Triangle, forever searching for answers in the depths of the unknown.